5 people waiting. We'll see. You ready to go?
Yeah.
What's up?
All right. Hey, guys.
There
We're
we
just making sure that we're live and direct.
Test.
Yeah. We're checking audio. So if you guys are out there, everything good?
Todd, give me a check.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Yep.
Yes. Excellent.
Is there volume on back at one of those computers, or was that I hearing that through?
That was this here, yes.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
Brent's leaving, our photographer.
Brent is leaving, so if anything goes wrong here, it's still his fault.
His kid's graduating.
There he is.
Uh,
I see him on the computer. His kid's graduating, so he's stepping out. We have our young Aaron Lebovitz back behind the control panel back there. His maiden voyage. He's nervous. You just see him sweating. I mean, it's just pouring off of your face. Your hair is slicked back, Aaron. I mean, he dressed like he was going to be on the camera, but like honestly, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't have any other clothes." He was just hoping that we would finally let him on this side. However,
not today, my friend.
You stay back there, my man. You make us look and sound good, and we'll think about it. How's everyone doing? Anthony here with Empire Music, store owner Joe Ravita, store manager Todd Myra. Once again for our
show, Aaron.
maybe at the end. No,
Aaron, poke your head right in front of the camera.
Okay, come on.
Go on, get it.
All right, here it is.
He's dying for this.
I mean, this is it. This is it, guys.
Nothing too exciting. Nothing too exciting.
Yeah.
Aaron Lebovitz. So all the photos that you see on our website, this kid does a great job. And we've been getting, and we'll talk about some of this as I'm holding the script in my hand. So we'll probably leave it down there. We don't have a script. Todd, hide it. No. Yeah, we're good. Thanks, Brent. We get a lot of guitars in, and if you've been through the shop, you see a lot of boxes here when you walk in up by where I sit and across the whole store. And Aaron shoots every single one of those, gets them over to Todd, and Todd gets them listed. So he's one of the first guys kind of in the chain of events that need to happen for our stuff to get out to you guys. So when you purchase an instrument with us, that you know what you're getting. We always take photos of the exact guitar listed by serial numbers. And like I said, so Aaron, who's running our video today, is in charge of that stuff. So super important to what happens here at Empire Music. So back on track. Happy Hour Hang. This is our 5th one. I can't believe we've come this far.
Number ocho.
Isn't that?
That's Cinco.
I was saying, isn't that 8?
Yeah. We'll get to 8 though.
Ocho Cinco. Chad Johnson's a boxer now.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our 5th one, and we have a really good time doing this. It's like a real kind of breath of fresh air, kind of let the guard down, let the personalities out here for Fridays when you guys are finishing up your work week. We have another day of work,
it's
obviously.
Our Thursday.
Yeah, it's really our Thursday. Tomorrow is our Friday, but we're bringing it to you guys. Like I said, this is the time that you guys are done with the work week. Hopefully, you can decompress, and we're just here to kind of talk gear. It's super loose. If you guys have any questions, please hit us up in the chat window on the side there. We'll be happy to get to it. We have a few lined up here, but when we have time, like 10, 15 minutes at the end, we'll certainly jump into that. So like I said, this is the 5th Happy Hour Hang, and we're happy that you guys have continued to join us for these things. We enjoy doing them. If you're not familiar with our shop, this is the first time watching it. We're Empire Music here in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, or just Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're how far away from the city? 2 miles?
3 miles, yeah.
3 miles south of the city. We're a giant Fender dealer, Fender custom shop dealer, Gibson, Martin custom shop, which we'll talk a little bit about here. We have some really cool Martin custom shop stuff that's happening here in the shop. Jackson, EVH, Charvel,
Taylor,
obviously Taylor guitars too. And so if you guys need anything, and give us a ring at the shop, 412-343-5299. You can check out the website at empiremusiconline.com. As soon as I stop, empiremusic.com. Although empiremusiconline.com will still get you there. We just redirected it. And as soon as I shut up, I'll start posting links in here when I can hand this off to these guys on the side of me here. Subscribe to the channel. You're on YouTube, subscribe to our content. We've been putting a ton of videos out and a lot more.
Hey, we're close to 10,000 subscribers.
We are close to 10,000 subscribers. So when I started here, we had 40 subscribers.
That's more. 10,000 is way more.
3.5, 4 years ago, we had 40 subscribers, and we're at 10,700.
976, right? 9,000.
Somewhere around there. So we're right between like 9,800. So please hit subscribe. We want to get over that 10,000 mark. And when we do, we're going to give something away.
Yeah.
We're going to be shouting out everybody. And like,
Drinks.
we just really, really, maybe we'll have a drink.
We
For
should
the- for
actually
the-
have it. That would be cool to have.
You know what?
In-store audience.
That would be cool.
Which, since we have 9 people watching right now,
All
we
right.
can fit them.
All right. Well, you know what? There is a thing though that I think
10.
I
capacity.
think on YouTube, they frown upon people drinking on videos on YouTube. So
Oh, really?
maybe not for us necessarily.
All right.
We'll have to look more into that.
Okay, Sarah.
But we really appreciate the support. We appreciate the feedback that we get from you guys. I know that we post a lot of content. Todd, myself, Joe, we're always filming stuff. And you guys comment a ton on it, giving us ideas as far as what you want to see out, what you want to see. If you have questions, you guys call us, you email us. We really, really appreciate all of that stuff. And if you have any ideas of what you want to see, like content-wise, let us know. We really, really want to bring you guys what you want, essentially. So if it's something that we have here in the shop, product-wise, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do anything you guys want, as long as it's here. If it's not here, can't necessarily help you out with that. But it's been a real cool journey getting like the YouTube thing and the online stuff happening and building that kind of audience around there. And every time you guys call us here in the shop and reference that, we always feel good about it. So we really greatly appreciate it. So what is happening here in the shop? Joe.
Yeah.
I'm going to post some links in here to the website, talk to some people. Not that there's that many. It's just Carl Kelly right now. We got 16 people.
Yeah.
What's new this week at Empire Music? And that's a little bit of a foreshadowing for if you guys know what we could put out on Monday.
Yeah, we have, Martin Custom Shop, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Because if you remember, I don't know if you guys really remember. I remembered as soon as I saw this. Because last time I jumped the gun and started to talk about what's in this. I talked about all the topics below ahead of time. Martin Custom Shop stuff I'm going to show you here. A lot of Fender Custom Shop happening we're getting Fender Custom Shop guitars. We worked with them over the last month or so. We're now getting it at 30 exclusive. So our 67 models, Strats and Tellys, plus Anthony's new bass, and we have a new guitar coming out in the fall as well. It'll be exclusive to us. We're going to be getting 30 total a month, which is awesome because guitars are difficult to get, as you've, I'm sure, heard, but we've been doing a great job and we're getting guitars for sure. But I think I want to start off in terms of the new guitars, because we always are talking high-end guitars, and we're going to spend a lot of time on that. Squier has a new launch here of affinity guitars and contemporary guitars that Todd did some videos. Are those both linked, the videos? The Strat is and the Telly?
Yes.
The new affinities aren't up yet.
No, but the contemporaries. So
the
talk
two
about the
two
new,
of the contemporaries.
Yeah, so there's new contemporaries. Oh, Glenn's here. What's up, Glenn?
Yeah, what's up, Glenn?
Oh, cool. So Glenn, this is perfect for Glenn because Glenn bought a contemporary Strat, and he also pre-ordered one. He bought one of the HH Floyd Roses in the shell pink, which will be going out on Monday that we just got set up. So let's talk about, Todd, why don't you talk about let's talk about just the contemporaries because we've done some videos on them, and they're not listed, I don't think, in really at all yet. Have you listed any?
Well, the ones we sold them already. So
the new ones
the brand new.
So we have some, and they'll be up this week. Yeah, so go for it.
Well, yeah. So I did a couple videos. I did the Strat and the Telly. The Strat is they're all unique, and they're if you get a chance to play one, do so because the contemporaries have really upped their game. I mean, they're kind of almost silly. What you get. The big thing is the roasted necks. So they're doing roasted necks now on the contemporary Squiers. With the Strat, at least the one I demoed, it had a HSS, it's HS, but it's actually 3 singles, but the 2 singles are wired like a humbucker.
Stacked together.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like a humbucker, but it works like it. And it has a very unique wiring, which I demonstrate in the video. It has jumbo frets, 12-inch radius. The Telly's cool because it has a rail, a humbucker in the bridge, has a full-size humbucker in the neck. They're just smoking guitars. It's hard to believe they're Squiers after you play one and hear it, but they're amazing.
Yeah, Fender, when we became a Fender dealer, I think it was 2015. Squier at that point was still something that was like you would get a Squier because you need an entry-level guitar, but it wasn't like people were like stoked to get a Squier or worried about the new releases. And about a year into being a Fender dealer, as I went to dealer meetings and stuff, they were telling us like we're going to put our effort into Squier, and they did it immediately. But now you see the genesis of that because you're seeing things like roasted. You're seeing 12-inch fingerboard radiuses, which Todd talks about that because that just means it's a really flat fingerboard. It's like a Gibson. It's the same radius as a Gibson, which Fender usually has a 9.5 on their modern guitars. So if you think about it, a 7 1/4, which is a vintage radius, is like this very round fingerboard radius, and that number gets higher. The radius gets flatter. And as it's flatter, it's faster, right? And it's easier to bend on. And those are player-centric features that Fender's not going to change on their currently their standard guitars because they're going to be mostly 9.5, or the vintage ones will be 7 1/4. But in areas like this, they can give us a modern take and super affordable. What are those? How much were those contemporaries? $450?
Yeah,
something like that. So like a lot of guitar, and also since we became a specialty dealer, which is the Jackson Charvel EVH, those guys that are made in Mexico have had the roasted necks, caramelized necks, and now you're seeing it in Squire. Makes the guitar more ambient, more acoustic. It makes it lighter. It's just a sexy feature. They look amazing. So Squire stuff, we ordered it. We're gonna get probably 4 or 5 of each. I mean, I ordered these guitars a year and change ago, so I did not expect to be still in this position with inventory as we are, who did. So keep an eye out for those this week. Todd's going to do more video on Monday for the remaining models.
I posted 2 links in the comment section, one to the Telecaster, one to the Strat, and then you're going to do, what else is it? The Jazzmaster,
Jaguar.
Jaguar. And then is that it? It's only 3.
There's Affinities.
Yeah.
So there's another lower tier Affinity Jazzmaster and some other stuff that we haven't even gotten to, but he will this week. So Fender really, I think, is on top of its game in sense of it's letting players access cool guitars at all price points, because sometimes we're not in a position, or maybe we want a cool guitar that isn't $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever. So now they're giving us that, and obviously when you buy a Squire, it's not the same as a $2,000 guitar. But I'll be honest with you, for $450, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat. So that's big and new for sure. So that's cool. Trade-in program. Let's talk about it. So here's the deal.
So we long discussion yesterday, actually all week, about this as to how we want to approach this.
Yes, and VidMax 60. I'm going to get to your question.
Yes, for sure. And we're not exactly sure how this is going to go, but so we're going to kind of preemptively kind of put this out there.
Yeah, and we trust you guys because like you're our regular customers. Like you're people we've interacted with and dealt with already, so we have a good rapport with all of you, which we realize we sell a lot of high-end guitars, right? And trade-ins are complicated because most of you aren't here, right? You know what I mean? So we want to start to invite trade-ins online and in person, obviously in person. And we want to make it so that we can help you find the guitar that you want. And obviously, like, trade-ins are one of those things, like when you trade your car in, you don't get the sticker price, for your, used trade-in value. And there's going to be some margin there for us, obviously. But we want you to reach out we want good guitars too. Like, what we don't, we'll be very blunt, like we don't want Squire for Squire trades and things like that. They're just too much effort, and there's just not enough margin, because when we sell a used guitar for $400, we do the same process, the strings and the setups and the full service that we do on a $5,000 guitar. So the reality of it is those just don't work. But if you see something on our site, and you have a guitar or two, we're open like multiples. We're not afraid of that. Give us a shout. We're gonna work with you on the price of the new guitars. We're gonna give you a fair trade-in, because everyone knows the chain store deal where you walk in and you have a $1,500 guitar and they give you $400 on trade, but they give you $100 off your other guitar. Well, it's like they're crushing you, and we know that. And as we talked about new brands, which we've talked about in the past of these things, the reality is, like, right now, there's not, like, brands aren't even taking dealers on, and because they can't fulfill the dealer orders that are there now. And there's not a ton of stuff that we're like dying to get. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's just like it's not like every day I wake up in which we had these other brands necessarily. So this will give us an opportunity to offer different inventory by taking trade-ins, because maybe you have a PRS and we don't carry PRS, and we'll take that on trade. So give us a shout. We don't know how it's all going to go. We know we're going to try to hook you up, and we'll give you great service, and we'll be very forthcoming in what we're going to try to offer your guitar for, because this is always the thing. There's 2 ways trade-ins can go bad for customers. When you trade your guitar in for $10 and you see it online for $50, you got hosed. Or you trade it in for $10, you see it online for $5, which means that you got hosed on the other item. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality of it. We'll be very forthcoming with how we're going to approach it.
We always try to be pretty open about
Yeah,
that
for
type
sure.
of stuff where it's like, you know, we obviously want to make a couple bucks on it, but not trying to get rich on it. That's kind of the name of the game there. And if we can't come to that, like we want to hook you up on a price however we can. So if it's ends up not being a trade, but we're discounting something a little bit for you,
Yeah.
that might be an option for you. Who knows? We just don't know. So reach out to us though. The worst thing we'll say is no, or we don't agree on a price, and then let's talk and let's get you a guitar somehow. You know what I mean?
We'll sort it out.
Yeah, and we'll obviously, I always like to be pretty helpful with like if it's not the number you necessarily want. Okay, well, here's what I think you can get for it. Here's what we think you can get for it on your own. Go try and get it. Like we're not just gonna like shut off conversation right there. But it's something we want to try. And I think next week you'll see some. I'm going to work on a little bit of marketing stuff to get emailed out, and you'll see some stuff on our social media about how we want to kind of tackle that with some you know, maybe some not necessarily angles, but some more information, some more exact information about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And please, we'd like your guitars to work and function properly.
Yeah.
This man right here will go over them with a fine-tooth comb. So if the truss rod snapped, we're not taking it. Sorry.
Yeah, we get a lot of people say, "Oh, it's great, except," and then they list all the things that aren't great about it. Like just like you know. First of all anybody watching this right now are people that have gear that they take care of and stuff like that. So we're confident that we have a great customer base that has great guitars, because we see a lot of used guitars online that we would never offer, because the reality is it's not a good thing to sell those guitars to people is something that's in good shape. And whether we sell you a B stock, a used, a factory used, a $50 pedal, we want it to be a premium experience, and we want to give you great service, and so we'll take care of you.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and speaking of like repair stuff, if you've been in the store, our time frame, we're back up to 2 weeks. We're just getting an influx of repair work here in the shop. I know Todd's been like doing some of the bleed over that Aaron can't handle. So yeah, we're back up to 2 weeks. So if you're dropping stuff off here locally, that's what it is.
That's
it's going to be
drill.
10 to 14, sometimes longer, sometimes a little bit shorter. If it's just a restring, we can probably knock that out. But all of our setups, pickup replacements, anything major, we're back to 2 weeks. We're sorry, but we do great work and we take our time to do it. So that's where kind of that time frame is. And again, I want to just kind of reiterate here. If you're watching this on YouTube, scroll through our videos. I put some link to the Squire stuff. We're always taking feedback. So any ways that you think we can make our videos a little bit better, any content that you want to see, more of our smiling faces here, we're happy to bring that. And like, let us know, like, what shops are you watching? Like, what other shops other than ours? I know we're the top billing out there in
like in that one extra minute after you've consumed all of our content.
That's right. Yeah, you've seen.
And you just want to make sure everyone else isn't as cool as us when you watch them.
All of Todd's Squire videos have been digested. Then who do you go to? So let us know, because we want to check those guys out too. If there's any cool shops or any cool video content that you're into, let us know. And maybe we can bring you something in those veins, or like I said, just something to check out. We're always there. 412-343-5299. I think the phone number is there at the bottom of the screen. But you can email me directly. It's Anthony@empiremusic.com, Todd@empiremusic, stillonline.com. That's a little confusing. Don't email Todd. Forget that.
Todd@empiremusic.com starting Monday.
That's right.
That's it.
Joe@empiremusic.com. Just our names at empiremusic.com. We're always there to help you guys out. So without further ado, we've been talking about it. This is the 5th one of these. We've been talking about it for the previous 4, the Martin Custom Shop stuff. We didn't show any off last time.
No, they weren't here. We missed it by a day.
That's right. We did the Lux pretty heavy last time for the Fenders.
Yeah.
So we got the Martin Custom Expert program is in full swing, and we have some exclusive models. The first Custom Expert guitars are killing.
Yeah.
The 1937, the Ds and the triple O's are just unreal. So we're going to show you a couple of things.
Yeah.
And we'll let Joe and Todd kind of talk about those, because these guys know it like crazy. So go ahead.
So let's talk. I think I want to talk about the stock custom shop model first, which is their 1937 0028s and D28s. This is one here. This is a 0028. No, and don't worry about that all. Yeah, so it's like we'll just show it like this. What Martin wanted to do with these authentic models was, first of all, they make an authentic line that is more expensive than these. These are not inexpensive guitars. I want to preface it that way. But the issue with them is, first, they didn't have truss rods. So we can't adjust our neck relief, and that's a bummer. So you spend $8,000 or $9,000 on a guitar, and originally the guitars didn't have truss rods, but these models have truss rods. So primo feature number 1, Adirondack top, Adirondack 5/16" scallop bracing. And it's the authentic pattern. As VidMac, I'm going to answer your question here. So one thing we've asked Martin for is access to the authentic bracing pattern, because it's the bracing pattern of the most famous Martins that have ever existed, the golden era 1930s, pre-war, World War II guitars. They're tucked. So someone's asking if they're tucked under the bridge. That's correct. The bridge plate, the X actually is touching at the X point on the X brace pattern, versus not in a standard production guitar. Hide glue, you know what I mean, which is an organic glue, which just sounds the best. It's where it's at. I can tell you, like, these guitars, Martin is making about 600 of them. Well, that was the plan for this year, and we had ordered 100 of them, like 106 of them, and we've sold every
Joe
single one.
Ravita, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'll tell you, like, I really, really believed in these guitars, and Fred Green, who's their designer, hit a home run. They sound massive. Adirondack is huge. Todd, sonically, what do you think? Obviously, they make a dreadnought as well, which we just got in. Is so we have one dreadnought. They also make an aged package. This one is stage 1 aging, which is a light relicing. But sonically, talk about the Triple O first, and tell people what they should expect with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed right on the head there. Is that they're just, both models are just cannons for what they are, and not meaning like muddy or wolfy, but no, they're punchy, but they're huge. And until you kind of hear it next to a traditional OM28 or something like that, it's, you see the same expression every time from our customers. They're just like, whoa. So the Triple O is just incredibly warm. It's articulate, dynamic,
so powerful. That's what I took away from them. It's just like the clarity is shocking. The power of both is undeniable. The Dreadnought, I think could sonically overwhelm any other guitar we've probably ever heard from them.
I thought the Modern Deluxes were powerful.
Yeah, and it really makes those guitars like, it's like it eats those whole, honestly. And you should check them out, because this to me is, we talk to a lot of customers, and there's Callings and Bourgeois, and all these guys make great guitars. They do, but what they're doing is they're charging you $5,000 and $6,000 for what Martin, and they're basically trying to make a guitar like this. I would put this up against any boutique builder all day long, and a guitar like this from a boutique builder would run in the easy $8,000 to $10,000 range to start. These are in the $5,000 and $6,000 range, which, like I said, I know is not inexpensive, but these will hang with any guitar made by anyone. And it's going to be half the price of those boutique builders. No way. I mean, they're phenomenal instruments, and we're really stoked because I think this shows the power of Martin when they put their mind to it. They have the historical context, and they gave us things like Adirondack. East Indian Rosewood gives, because the authentic models have Madagascar, which is darker. And to be honest with you, I think this sounds better. They're cleaner, because I think the other ones were really powerful too, but sometimes got a little dark sounding. But it's adjustable, phenomenal instrument. So scope those out. And with that in mind, when they brought us the Custom Expert program, it gave us access as a store to the authentic bracing pattern. And then I went to work because I wanted to bring another option, because there's these guitars, which are still going to be very rare. Taking that up, there we go. So what I wanted to do is I went ahead with Adirondack top, Adirondack scallop 5/16" bracing, authentic pattern, so authentic guts. But I did the VTS, which is the torifying system, which is going to bake it in. It's going to make it sound older, more played in. And why I did that is because I went with exotic woods. So this is Koa. So I have these in Dreadnought. Oh, sorry, this is Cocobolo, right? We have them in Koa or Cocobolo. And I'm going to grab a Koa. Todd's going to grab a Koa. So this is the Cocobolo. We have it in Dreadnought and Triple O. And we have the Koa and Dreadnought and Triple O. I hand selected these woods through a virtual selection with Martin's Factory, almost a year ago. And the cool thing with this is the Triple O and D1937s have their original necks, which are fuller, fatter necks. This is the modified low oval PA taper neck, the most modern sleek neck. Just a different experience. What you do is you get the gusto and the massiveness of the authentic bracing pattern, but then you get these these exotic woods to play off the authentic design, and it's just unique and it's different. We call them Empire Authentics. There's Todd. Here you go. With the Dreadnought.
Check this guy out.
And I mean, the Koa is just incredible. You know what I mean? It's just like we did. Oh man, does that look great on camera?
Look great on camera.
Right,
And that's
just-
the highly featured.
Can I get it off of that light?
Yeah, you get that. There you go. That's a twist.
Something there.
These are sexy.
Yeah,
So-
pretty killer, man. And as a bass player who doesn't know anything about acoustic guitars, sorry if I sold you one before. No, I do, but like obviously I heard all of these, the 37s and these, and it just was like, wow, I mean, they sound.
I've
they're
done some videos on these.
absolutely gorgeous sounding guitars.
So I'm really proud of these. It's like this is it takes a lot of time and effort to spec these out and offer something different and unique, and they're just beastly. I have some demos of some of these. I don't think I've done the triple O's yet because they literally just showed up. You get obviously Aaron behind the camera here takes all the photos of all those individual guitars. So you can see the individual.
I put a
woods.
link to just like our custom shop page, a couple comments up there. So if you guys want to check out what we have going on out of that in that inventory, it's right there for you. Everything's always on there for sure.
So
And then like also as the custom expert program, like, okay, these are great guitars, right?
Yep.
They're killing guitars. What if that's not what you want?
yeah, well, here's the deal. We can spec. So two things occur since we're an expert dealer, and this is what makes us unique. We have access to the authentic. We have a whole menu of unique features that nobody else in the country has. So you can get the authentic. You can get. There are some things like high glue. There are some cosmetic things that you can get as well. But the real treat is the authentic style stuff that we can build out for you. We get faster build times. So that's really important to us because you're not waiting 12, 14, 16 months. Actually, it's so weird is I think we did a build in February and they just called me the other day for a final inspection question. And so very close, it's like, fast. Obviously, depending on the inlay work, if you want a lot of shell work or a lot of inlay on the fretboard, that will extend your time. But we can help you build out. So if you're like, oh man, I always wanted a D18 that just had more rip to it, you could build basically a D18 authentic style guitar. You have access to it, and we can get you a truss rod in the neck. You know what I mean? So you're not spending $5,000, $10,000, whatever, however fancy you want to make it, and not be able to adjust the truss rod, which is kind of goofy. I mean, I always say like when Ford brought the Thunderbird back out, they had power steering because it would be stupid not to. It's like we want to have that modern feature, and these are something that is going to really reshape our relationship with Martin. So we're stoked about it. And if you want to design a guitar, let's make it happen.
Yeah. So let me just pivot on that. I want to just like kind of piggyback on that comment, just to like as a side note here, we've built a ton of custom guitars here. You've built a lot of Martin customs, right? You built a.
Yeah, you went to the factory.
I picked out woods and stuff.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. Can you think of what stands out in your mind as any custom builds that you've done in how long you been selling Martins now? 20 years?
Yeah, 97.
Okay, so longer than that.
Yeah.
So like what stands out in your mind and just like cool builds, not even the most expensive, but like what's a build that like really stands out to you in your kind of history here?
Yeah, I think typically there's two ways you do builds. There's some people that do the super blingy, which is cool. That is not typically my favorite. It's also definitely the most expensive. You know what I mean? It's just like when you we did a build last year. It was like $25,000 was bill. Remember he came down O'Connor. He did. He did aluminum inlay, tree of life. I think it was a torch. It was a $25,000-$30,000 retail guitar. It was awesome and it was spectacular. Now that aside, that was really cool. I typically find that I think that people who pick tone woods that aren't typically accessible, I think those tend to be the best way to go because you're not going to build a D18 better than Martin builds a D18 for, like why would you want to spend double to do essentially a basic same deal? You know what I mean?
Right. To stick to that plan. Like why not make it something super unique?
Right. So make it unique and get your own tone. That's what that's why I like the Empire ones that we did. I think that the people that have a tone in their head that we can help them get, we have a triple O or an OM custom shop that's got the maple, curly red maple back and sides. And that's just a sound that doesn't exist in Martin's catalog. You know what I mean? Outside of that guitar, I think it's a high altitude top, Swiss top. It's just really, really spectacular. And if I was doing a custom, that's what I would lead toward. You know what I mean? Because I think for me to try to design something better than this, I wouldn't. Martin would already do it better than me. But I think like these over here make more sense when you use the exotic woods, or who is it, David, he bought the one that Martin said, and the all mahogany. So like a vintage guitar that Martin doesn't currently have access to, so they kind of rebuild.
Cool, yeah.
And I'm working with them to recreate some of their historical pieces in their museum, which right now we can't do because the museum's closed and all that stuff. But I think by the end of next year, that'll be some things that we'll start to do.
Some cool stuff. So Todd, if you were gonna build your Martin right now, top of your head, what would you get? Like what would you look for in a custom Martin? Like if it was up to you right now, your money,
I'm
spent.
I'm probably on the same page as Joe. I'm more about the tone than the look, like all the abalone inlay and all that stuff. I mean, I was really happy with the wild grains we did a few years ago. Those came out incredible.
Talk a little bit about that. That was a process. You went to the factory,
right?
So
went up there, and it's first time to check out the Martin facility, which is not that far from us, which is really cool to only be 5 hours away. But went up there, worked with I forget who the wood guy is, the guy who handles all the.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's actually a wood librarian there. There's a guy who literally this huge cage. I mean, looks like it's 3 stories high. He has to actually take an elevator thing to get to the pieces of wood, and you tell him what you're looking for, he just knows it, brings it down, lets you check it out. Has these cutouts that you can see what the dreads or triple O's would look like. And then you kind of just go from there. And I had the privilege of picking out some wild grain rosewoods, Cocobolos, and man, they just turned out fantastic.
I forget what we did. Did we do all D's? Was it all?
No,
dreads?
no, we did triple O's.
Okay.
There was dreads. The thing was, we went with whether it was the wild grains, there was Cocobolo, and then I think at that time we were doing the VTS as well, because that's when it really started to come into play, and we jumped on board because we knew how great it was. Those things didn't last. So that's the direction I would go.
And then if I was going to build one, it would be, guess what?
Acoustic bass.
A bass. So moving on to a couple questions now that we got from our fine online participants. And if you got, again, ask away on the sidebar here. We're going to try and get to as many as we can. We got to think 3 or 4 kind of lined up ahead of you, because they were the early bird gets the worm, so to speak, or at least gets our attention. Because when I sent out these emails, I put a little survey or a little link in there for you to submit your questions ahead of time. So if you do that, get in nice and early, we certainly can kind of get you in line here. So first question, you didn't leave a name, anonymous. So whoever anonymous is out there, we appreciate it. This is a good question too, because it's something that we really like to talk about. What is the build time on Fender Custom Shop, and where do I start? Well, what is build time? 6 to 8 right now?
They just told us 12 months. That being said, since we get 30 guitars a month, we can probably do a 5 or 6 month turnaround in most instances, assuming you're not doing something out like master build or whatever. And what we're able to do, and this is a bonus of us doing so much business with them, is we'll take out a guitar that we have scheduled to build for us that we would like to sell and put your build in. So 6 to 8 months is dead on. Is very comfortable, and that's going to be 4 to 6 months faster than pretty much the rest of the market.
If we had Kevin in Canada that ordered that 59p bass from me, I went on to look where that was. He called me the other day to get an ETA, and I checked on the back end, and it was like late July, early August, which is like ahead of schedule.
For sure.
And I don't even think we slotted that in.
We did slot.
Oh, we did slot that. So there you go.
Yeah.
So we can essentially get you one hopefully faster than someone that doesn't deal in as much custom shop as we do, which is plenty of it. And Todd does a lot of our custom build out stuff, to the point where, like, if I'm doing a custom build for someone or Joe's doing a custom build for someone, we generally run it through Todd, because he's done so many of them and he's so good, very intuitive with it.
He'll keep you from doing something stupid. That's for sure.
Which is like
super important.
Kind of a point that I make to write here is that, like, if you have a dumb idea, we will try our best to talk you out of it. We may not necessarily do that, but no, I mean, like, if it's something, I don't mean it, I'm joking. I'm kind of saying that facetiously there, but if you have an idea that you just don't know what you want to do, and something isn't quite lining up to like an expert's eye, then we're going to bring that up to you and give you all the options that can. So if someone wants to get started with a custom shop build, they can just call us and we can get you going. But there is a spot on their website to essentially get their build specs together and then email it over to you. So if someone wants to get started, what would you recommend them do to essentially get that process kind of underway?
Yeah. So if you kind of have an idea what you're looking for, you can go to Fender Custom Shop site. There is a section where you can download the PDF catalog. And on the last few pages of that catalog,
the design guide.
The design guide.
Download it's already on the homepage of FenderCustomShop.com.
The last few pages are actually all the options. Well, not all of them, but most of the options that you can check. So what a lot of people do is they'll download that, open it up in or Adobe or something, and then they'll check off the things that they're interested in. Keep in mind there are way more options that are available, and that's kind of what why I'm here. I can give you, like, if you say you wanted this, but there's it expands on that. There's more things that you can get.
If you see something that's necessarily that's not on, if you want something that's not necessarily on there, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, you
might be able to get it
Well,
done.
that being said, it usually ends up being master built at that
Right,
point. If you go off the menu, they'll make it.
So careful with that.
Kashish.
There's a notes section that you can put in, like, hey, by the way, is it possible to get this? And I'll let you know. Because you're right, Joe just said, if you can't drift too far away,
stick to the list, guys.
Yeah.
But I will say, we've gone to bat for some people and got around that because it's like we'll say that's ridiculous. Like somebody wanted a different set of machine heads that might not be on
tuners.
There. Yeah, and
I did it with tuners.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're like, oh, that makes it master built. And then if you stomp your feet in the correct direction, we can fight for it.
They couldn't do a straight American Pro tuner on there, and I was like, we did. And then sure enough, you went in there and they did.
Yeah, you said, and there's like, oh, we can do that.
So you pick out some specs and then give us a call. Email me.
Yeah, email me the PDF, and then I'll get right back to you. Just make sure you leave your contact information. And then what I can do is kind of process that, get it onto an actual build sheet, and get you a price. And then if there's certain things like that you're interested in, that I can then find out through our inside guy if it's doable. So it's not like it's not a quick process because it's a lot of back and forth, but it has to be that way.
They're busy. They're busy there.
But just to make sure that we're getting the right stuff, we all have to be on the same page.
What people don't understand is you can tailor it into the point. Like if you wanted, this is a dumb idea, but if you wanted a super heavy relic body and an NOS neck, or what I mean? Like you can literally combine these relicing packages because there's a feel on the neck like that, or you don't want it here. What if people have done
they do NOS bodies with relic necks,
and then NOS machine
hardware,
heads.
Hardware,
right? So it's like all those things can combine, and we can walk you through that process with it. And I say this to people, and they laugh at me sometimes. It's cheaper than you think. It's not a cheap process.
Yeah.
But for what you're getting Fender, the biggest name in the industry, to build you a guitar. It essentially has your name on it rolling through the factory floor.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool if you think about that concept.
I mean, and in the end, you are getting your actual shop floor traveler that, comes in the binder you get. And then what's unique is that you'll see pencil marks, you'll see things that the builders are putting on there, and that's yours. That's personalized.
And that's a one of one at that point.
What I mean?
That's not, it's like hitting the lotto that someone else picks out those exact specs on there. Now, obviously, like even when you do our 67s, our Super Strats, we'll do two of the same finishes. And I know we're kind of moving into some of that category where we want to always have a few finishes in stock and always in the pipeline. But none of those are the same either.
Never. There's never.
Other than an NOS. You know what I mean? Really, all the replicating is going to be a little bit different. So we're here to help with that process. We can really help you streamline it if you have questions about it. But we encourage people to reach out to us, call us. It's fun to us to do that. It's like a perk of the job is the fact that we get to build someone essentially not necessarily their dream guitar, but a guitar that they really want, that they've really dialed into what they're looking for. I think that's super, super cool. And we're always happy to do that. So again, email us. There's a chat feature on the website up in the upper right-hand corner. It's called Ask an Expert. One of us will be on there. We can help kind of get you started on that type of stuff. So Fender Custom Shop, some cool stuff happening there, no doubt about it. And again, if you got trade-ins and you want to build a guitar, we can work on that too. So
sort it out,
we'll sort that out. I mean, everything's an option, man. James in South Carolina, thank you, James, for the next question. What is the biggest innovation you've seen in guitar manufacturing in recent years? Joseph?
I think it's clear. Anything with the baking and the torrefying, that's
That's
front
big.
facing.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. It's like acoustic guitars with torrefaction, roasted bodies, roasted necks on the electric
Where'd
side.
that start?
Well, I think there was actually a guy in Pittsburgh that worked at CMU as like a professor that created this thing he called the process. I've talked to him a million times about it. He's a genius, which is great and terrifying to talk to. But he created this process that was the first I had ever heard of, and he was trying to pitch it to all the brands. And not sure if it ever got picked up by any of the major brands, but torrefaction and VTS and all that stuff happened right behind it. I think Martin was the first main manufacturer to use it. So it's just like that's where I kind of saw it first, and like that's the front facing stuff. Behind the scene, it's wood curing. It's how much technology now happens on the backside, and how brands are taking care of their wood, and that's why the quality's so. It's what they're able to do with guitars now. We never get something in with a weird neck on it. Like you used to get American guitars. Like I always tell the story. We became a Martin dealer in the late 90s. They told us to order 5 D28s on our first order because that's the only way you'd sell one, because people wanted to test them to make sure that they had this. I don't know if it was a quality issue compared to now. It's a quality issue for sure. But the perception was that, you had to play a bunch to make sure you didn't get a dog. Now it's like, that's not, I mean, nobody, I can't tell you the last time anybody asked me if we had 2 of anything in the store, to be honest with you, to try them side by side. And that's because like Chris Martin spent, I think, $1.5 million last year on new technology to cure their wood, that now they monitor it 24 hours a day. And there's someone at their factory that is on call all day, 24 hours a day, to manage and make sure the wood is being taken up to 100% and down to 0% over and over, to make sure it expands and contracts over long, slow periods of time, to make sure that the guitar long term is more viable. And when they're working with it, they have less fallout. There's not any breaking, sides don't crack as much. And Taylor's done that for a long time. It's really impressive. So that's why I'd say the technology side, innovation.
On that note, do you think that with the new Squire stuff having, like, now that we're seeing like roasted maple starting to move down in price points, and I haven't thought of this, I'm literally like going off the top of my head here. Do you think that's going to add any bit of stability? But that would actually, because you're taking some moisture essentially out of maybe an imperfect piece of wood. And then that's always like a knock on Squire stuff, is that like, it goes out of whack pretty easy on you.
Yeah.
Now that we're seeing that, I wonder if we're going to see better stability in that. And you're just seeing that these top end features now, as they kind of matriculate down to the lower end stuff, that we're going to start. I mean, and it's kind of leads into the next question too, but it's like, we're seeing better quality stuff come out of like.
Well, the expectation of customers has never been higher.
Sure.
There's no doubt about it. And manufacturers are aware of it, and they're putting their money where
I
their
wonder
mouth
if that curing process would actually help that out a little bit.
Well, it definitely removes the volatility of the extra moisture in the wood. There's no way around that. You know what I mean? Additionally, if occasionally, think about it on a non-roasted neck, sometimes there's some not so beautiful parts of the wood. You know what I mean? You get on a Squire. I mean, you look at those roasted necks; they are sexy. There's no way around it. Yeah.
I remember when Music Man bases started doing that. Not that we want to talk about them. We don't sell them. Never buy Music Man bases. We don't sell them. Play whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever.
But Fender's awesome. Fender. I thought that looked sharp. And then like tonally, I know we talked about this last time just a little bit, but like tonally, we talked about stainless steel frets last time. What do you think? What do you experience? Not even what you think. What do you experience when you play a baked neck or a roasted maple neck versus a non? Do you perceive that anyway?
Absolutely. I mean, for one, you definitely feel a difference. There's a certain feel to a baked maple neck that it's different than a non-baked. And I mean, I feel it every time. Now, I don't know if it's something that anybody else would. I just do, since I handle guitars all year long. But if that's for one, I know there, and it just, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like worn when it's not. So that's the one thing. I think tonally there is definitely a over like a warmth to the maple that you get. If it's like just a pure maple, if it's not like a rosewood fingerboard or something on it, there's definitely a tonal difference as well. And the other benefit is just it definitely lightens the instrument too, because you're taking out the carbon. That's part of the torrefaction. It limits. It's, I think Kurt said it best. When I asked him that question, because we were just trying to get a more layman's term on what the torrefaction actually does. And I think he said it best: if you just put a bunch of McDonald's straws together and put like gunpowder in it and that's what a normal neck would be, and then you just empty that, and that's what a torrefaction neck is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's you still have the stability, but now you just
Sure.
got rid of the weight.
And I like all of our Empire 67s. Obviously,
that.
we do all the roasted stuff. It
Yeah.
saves a little bit of weight, and with it, we like what it adds. I think from a
They're more vocal
tone
unplugged,
perspective.
which I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely
You
that.
play an electric
Yeah, there's
guitar
no
and it
doubt.
sounds like you're playing a brick, like,
Yep.
and you're spending a lot of money, like run away quickly. You know what I mean? Like you should hear it, you should feel it vibrating against you, and roasting enhances that.
And not that it's not that they're ready yet, but the bases that I've built will have roasted bodies, roasted necks. So
Mhm.
that's gonna
Tasty.
be killer. It's gonna save a little bit of weight. I think it's gonna sound
Oh, yeah.
really,
Get
really
yourself a
good when
stocking
those
stuffer for the Christmas season.
pre-orders. We're taking pre-orders on them. Email me to Anthony@empiremusic.com. We'll get you in line. I might have a few of them sold. I know one person, me, so I tap on my microphone. Is going to buy one because I need another custom shop. Like, I need a hole in the head, but I'm going to do it anyway. Why not? So, like, kind of backtracking, and this kind of leads in. Another anonymous question. Seems like products out of Asia are better than ever.
Mhm.
Is that your experience? I think to
Yeah.
a man in the room here, like, yeah, for
Without a
sure.
doubt,
There's
yeah.
no doubt. Like that you talked about in the Squire videos that I posted in
Mhm.
there, like some good stuff. It's been happening since, what was it? Vintage Modified. It's kind of the
Yeah, yeah.
first ones that really
The
stuck out to us.
Yeah, the vintage modifieds were. It was like
And then Classic Vibes even
yeah.
better.
The
And
first
then-
time you were like, "Whoa, this is different. This is better," you know. And then you're right, the classic vibe, and then it was like, "Wow, even better." And now this contemporary stuff. I mean, it's like
it's a different, obviously a different player profile there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the vintage. It's not really geared towards the vintage stuff, but like,
yeah. I mean,
high
like
quality,
20
man.
years ago, I mean, I would have been like, I don't know, do you really want that?
Yeah.
And it's now. I don't know if it's
Well,
just the quality control now in these.
It's based off of volume. More
Yeah.
guitars are sold. More. The internet created the ability for manufacturers to find more players, more demand,
Mhm.
and also like you're not buying $100 guitars. The
No.
thing is, like the reality is in like with everything in life, you get what you pay for. If you buy a $99 guitar, you're getting a crummy guitar. That's it. There's not a good way to make one. There just isn't. But as manufacturers found that customers are willing to pay $300 or $400 for an Asian guitar, they can make great guitars over there. I can say, like you always say, you can make have a bad pizza in Italy. Just because you're in Italy doesn't mean it's going to be tasty. Just like
Yeah.
you can make a bad American guitar if somebody isn't paying attention. And over there, they have the ability to make great guitars. Now, somebody like Fender does it best because they have people on the floor at their manufacturing facilities, because these facilities are third-party facilities, and they will swap parts out on you, and they will take shortcuts on you to make more money. So you see a lot of small brands come and go because they pay these manufacturing facilities to make the guitars, and they come back 6 months later, see how it is, and it's like, ooh, this stuff isn't like it was promised. Well, Fender's volume is massive, and they have people over there overseeing the process, and it turns out great.
Mhm.
So yes.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that. All right, last question before we get to what we got over on the side here. Mr. Paul Cranston, if you're out there, hello, one of our great
Oh.
customers here. Have any of you messed around with the Mustang Micro amp? Is it cool? Does it sound like a real amp through headphones? It's super cool. It does sound like a real amp, but I think at the end of what you're saying there is in headphones. So like
Mhm.
you're always fighting that like room ambience versus what you have just like in cans up here. Now the cab simulators in it are nice. They sound, you get a little bit of airiness and kind of that lag, that sag that you can
Yeah.
pull out of like, and like the response from a speaker. But it's a headphone amp. So it's not really built to replace, your Princeton.
Yeah, it's expectations.
room.
It's
Right,
awesome
right.
for what it is.
Yeah. They've sold extremely
Yeah,
well
really
for us
well.
though. And also, Paul, if you're listening to this, and even if you're not, or whenever you are, whenever you call, Paul's bought some. Well, I mean, what's Paul bought? Some killer
A lot of
guitars
guitars,
from
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
He's a great customer from up Michigan. Your next purchase, we'll toss one in for you.
There you go.
Mm.
There you
Yeah.
go, right there.
Paul and his wife drive down from Michigan all the time. I met them January 1st, 2014. They texted me.
And I'm comfortable saying that because he doesn't buy cheap stuff.
No, yeah.
So we're not giving that away on a Squire
Yeah,
or anything
yeah.
like that. It's going to be
Paul's
something
got,
good.
Paul's got the good taste.
And that's like, I always like to say too, like guys like Paul, and I mean, there's
Carl's in here.
Carl
There's
Kelly in
David.
there, and like
Yeah.
we've been
I
talking.
don't know if VidMac is David McLean. It might be. David's a great customer. Richard Sharp's a great customer.
Yeah, and like
Oh,
guys,
BJ's in
Richard
here. Glenn's in
Sharp.
here. A lot of great guys.
yeah. So like we really, really appreciate you guys like supporting us. And if you're online or in the store, it's all the same thing. When you're repeat buyers, that like feels so good to us. we're always happy to make sure that you're getting the best possible guitar at the best possible price if we can do it. So guys like, all of you in the chat and many other ones. I know Bob Bliss comes to mind, even though he's the layaway champion right now. We're not afraid of layaways either.
Yeah.
So on top of trade-ins, if there's something that you see, we're going to contractually bind you to it, obviously, but we're happy to do some layaway work for you too on whatever you see. So give us a ring for that.
Legit, without you guys, like we wouldn't, I can't imagine, because I always tell the story when we first moved to this location, we had an 800 square foot location, and me and two buddies walked every guitar up the street from it. I rented a truck and we realized it was stupid. We just take 2 guitars at a time and walk them up here faster than loading the truck up. To now, it's just like a Scotty for Richard. Richard, there you go.
That's the only reason we shouted you out, Richard.
Richard, that's why I'm always so fat. This is terrible. Richard's getting me. They can't let me out of this Biscotti trap I'm in. But we really, when we say we appreciate you guys, it makes our job a lot of fun to continually work with all you. It's just cool.
Yeah, it's cool to like get you guys cool guitars, and you guys allow us to get cool guitars in, which we're at the core, like we're all guitar geeks here. Yeah. So it's like that's I'm a bass geek, but it's the reality.
We like good stuff.
We like good stuff. We all geek out when like cool stuff rolls through the shop. So all right, let's jump through. We got a few minutes left here. Let's jump back up into some questions.
Well, here's a question for Todd. I think Todd would be great. And Anthony, you could answer this on the bass side from Matthew Rainey.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk a little bit about what's important to look for as you're looking to move from a lower end electric guitar to something higher end? Let's put yourself in, I have a $300 guitar and now I'm ready to buy a $700 or $1,500 guitar. What am I looking for? What would you tell customers? Or what would you look for yourself?
Yeah. if we're just speaking Fender,
anything.
I would,
anything.
Just
in general.
Maybe there's a lot. I think it's more about in general, like the direction of.
Well, it's just like if I was, let's say electric guitars, are you looking feel? Are you looking tone? What are you looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I would ask whether, if you're heading the Gibson direction, the Fender direction, because even Epiphone has fantastic stuff at that price point. Fender's gonna have a lot more, but there are options now with the Charvel, EVH. There's just so much stuff here in that price point. So yeah, I would definitely have to feel out, what style of guitar you're looking to get, what you're playing now. Feature wise, if you wanted something more modern, like with the humbuckers, or you wanted to keep it classic with single coils. We definitely come at you with the questions because it just helps us get you the right guitar, because it's all about the fit, Yeah,
I think if I was looking at just putting myself in the shoes, and which isn't even though it might not be going from entry level up to high end for me now, but I'm still might be looking to make an upgrade on something. It doesn't necessarily change. It's like, okay, what do I have? What does that do well? Cool. What doesn't it do well? Do I want my next purchase to be so different from that because I want to keep what I have here and add a new voice into my collection? Or am I getting rid of this and do I want to move into versatility? So for me, it's think about why you're making the upgrade, sonically.
Yeah.
Then it's okay, what's the budget? That's obviously important too, because you can come into the shop or go somewhere and look at a $4,000 custom shop or a Spectre. I'm talking about basses or whatever, Lakeland, Modulus, whatever the company might be, and you can get enamored with that. But if that's not your budget, it's okay. What do I need it to accomplish? Where's the price point that I want to be? Now, what's available in that price point? Where am I getting a strong build quality? I think that's probably the most important factor in that is what am I getting build quality for the money? If we're I think once you hit $1,500, $2,000, you're hopefully getting good build quality with whatever you're picking up, hopefully. Yeah. But it's where's the best bang for the buck that I'm still fulfilling whatever my needs are. Yeah. Obviously, a metal player is going to be different than a rhythm guitar player.
Yeah.
So
I would say to keep it fun. I want something that's exciting to play. I want to be inspired. When you leave here with the guitar, and if I'm helping you, I want you to leave here thinking, I'm never putting this guitar down. It's all I want to do is play this guitar. I think sometimes we get too nuts and boltsy and we start worrying about all these odds and ends, these minute specs. And here's the thing. I always say, what are the senses? We go sight, then we go touch, and then we go sound. That's how you experience an instrument. You see it on our site or you see it in our store. If it looks cool, you want to pick it up. If it doesn't look cool to you, you're not going to pick it up. Move on. Then you touch it. oh, the neck feels good, or it's like it's a body, it's comfortable for me. Now we're on to something. How does it sound? The specs sometimes, especially if you make the kiss of death mistake and go online to a forum, everything in a forum is terrible. And there's never been a cool guitar online. Experience it. Think about what makes you excited to play. Sometimes it's that simple. You know what I mean? It's just like, and don't, buy to the player you are, buy to the player that you aspire to be. And that doesn't always mean spending tons of money. You know what I mean? But if you've been playing an electric guitar forever and you're able to, you want that new Strat or that new Les Paul, and you're like, oh, geez, I've been playing 4 years and I can only play these many songs or whatever. Don't think about that. Like, buy the best that you can buy within reason. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't mean you have to spend tons of money. But, if you can get if it's your first electric guitar and you can spend $750 on a player Strat, you'd be really encouraged to do so because it's a great guitar for its price. We can help you navigate that process for sure. I think we're really good at identifying the type of customer you are, because Todd is definitely more techie nuts and bolts. Like in Todd's playing level allows for, he can feel a lot of nuance that maybe I can't feel because I'm more of a hobby guitar player. So I'm looking for something that sounds incredible. I just sound good. I really don't care why it sounds good. I'm just happy it sounds good and does it feel and look awesome. So everyone's different.
Other question that I saw in here somewhere was just a little bit off topic, but when we were talking about the innovations on manufacturing, I mentioned about the Taylor
V-bracing from James.
Yeah.
Does it enhance the tone? Well, what do you hear from us in here every day? Tone is subjective.
Yeah.
Like how does this sound?
We're 3 years into V-bracing now too. So
sure.
It's like not a new
Does
thing.
it sound great? Yes. And how do we know that people like the way it sounds? Because it increased the amount of selling that Taylor sold more guitars than ever pre-pandemic, which everyone's selling more now. But it's been accepted. Tone is it's like red versus blue, right? What V-bracing does is anybody who played a Taylor guitar before V-bracing and said they were too bright should investigate Taylor guitars and play a V-brace. They're rounder sounding guitars. The bottom end and the top end are rounder sounding. It's fuller, and they definitely aren't as aggressive, bright sounding. If you want to call it bright, I don't like that type. I think they aren't as treble heavy. I mean, the top end isn't as much bite to it, and they sound fatter. They also sustain way better, and the mids are, I think, especially the dark wood tops, cedars, mahoganies, koas, which used to have a lot less life and now open up more. So even enhanced, to me, they do, but it's like, that's for you to decide. But good.
The concert bodies that before they seemed kind of very thin, they've just, I would say, don't be afraid to even take a pick to a concert.
They open up.
So that definitely benefited the smaller guitars.
And also, I think the best part about it is it made US guitars, which before used to have standard bracing, then they had performance bracing and advanced performance bracing. So as you spent more money, you got better bracing. That's how they were selling it. Now, if you're going to invest in an American guitar from a 314 to a custom guitar or presentation or whatever it would be, the guts are all the same. The core is the same. So you don't have to think about, if I spend 500 more, I get this. Or if for just 300 more, I get this. It eliminates a lot of that. Now, let's just think. I think how I like to buy guitars personally more is, what do I like? You know what I mean? And we don't have to think about, obviously our budget's always important. How much are we spending at the end? But it's not wholly based on, geez, I'm spending $3,500 and I didn't get this. You know what I mean? We don't have to think that way. We have build that Taylor believes in, and they deliver. Yeah.
Cool. So I think that covers 2 of them. I think that's it for us. So.
And we did talk about the tuck bracing.
Yeah, I think we
David.
touched on
Give us a
most
call,
of those
David. I'll hook
topics.
over Facebook me. I can answer that more in depthly for you.
I think this is going to conclude our 5th Friday happy hour hang. It is 6 o'clock, just about.
I'm going to a real happy hour right
quitting
now.
time. I'm driving to Greensburg for my aunt's 80th birthday. Happy
Todd,
birthday.
what are you doing tonight?
What are you doing, dude?
Don't know yet.
Todd is a wild one.
Todd?
Aaron is going out with some friends tonight.
Todd's going to Aldi.
Todd's going to Aldi.
I'm going to Bed Bath and Beyond.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. It's our names at empiremusic.com. Call us at the shop, 412-343-5299. Massive inventory. We have 0% interest financing, full factory setup on all the guitars. This is not at all a sales video. It's really just to kind of talk about gear, but we are a guitar shop. We appreciate the support. If you do need something, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will see you for another one of these in just about 3 weeks. Thank you so much for joining in, as always.
See you.